Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Jim Anderson. I have the privilege of serving the customers at Cox Health, and indeed it's my privilege this afternoon to serve as your Master of Ceremonies for the Springfield Public Schools Hall of Fame Awards Luncheon. And I welcome you to the Springfield Public Schools 7th Annual Hall of Fame Awards Luncheon. We thank you for joining us today as we honor the class of 2016. Dr. Adam Borden, Mr. Johnny Morris, Mr. William J. Waggis. Each of our award recipients has taken a solid foundation of a quality education earned from Springfield Public Schools and has built a life of personal as well as professional success. This event, as you can imagine, would not have been possible without the generosity of our sponsors. I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors, and please wait until we've shared our sponsors before you join me in applause. Again, our platinum, our gold, our silver sponsors. Our presenting sponsor, 417 Magazine. Other sponsors include Foundation for Springfield Public Schools, Bass Pro Shops, AdSmith Marketing and Advertising, KY3, Maddox New Freighter, Espley Snyder and Associates, Positronic, and Ozarks Coca-Cola Dr. Pepper Bottling Company. Let's join in thanking our sponsors for today's event. My personal conviction today is education is everybody's business. What's good for education, I think, is good for business. And what's good for education and business, I think, is good for the community. Together, I think we can build the future. Public education is truly a community issue. Further public education, I think, is a community responsibility and commitment. Together we can and we will build the future. Now enjoy your lunch and the talent of the Parkview High School Orchestra. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is John Jungman, Superintendent of Springfield Public Schools. And on behalf of our 25,000 students and nearly 4,000 employees, we thank you for joining us today. Please continue your lunch as we get our ceremony started. It's such a pleasure to be here to honor these three outstanding alumni. Over the next hour, if you don't already know these inductees personally, it's going to be very clear why we are inducting them today. I would ask that these 2016 Hall of Fame inductees please stand as I call your name, and if you'll wait till we have all three standing, we'll give them a great round of applause to get the ceremony started. Dr. Adam Borden. Adam and his wife, Dr. Molly Conroy, have 3 children. Mr. Johnny Morris. Johnny and his wife of more than 30 years, Jeannie, have 2 children. Megan and John Paul, and 2 others that aren't listed on my script. And Johnny, you can mention their name when they get up here, all right? Sorry to the other 2. And Mr. Bill Waggis. With Billy today is his fiancee, Alexi Silva, and her 2 daughters, Victoria and Sophia. Please, a round of applause for these 3 great honorees. Like I said, I have no doubt that by the time you leave here today, you'll be impressed with their character as well as their accomplishments. As I reflected on the 3 distinctly different lives of these men, one trait they shared stood out to me. All 3 have dedicated their lives to having an impact on the lives of others, not just for today, but for a lifetime. One provides for the physical well-being of a portion of our population that's often neglected and misunderstood, and provides them many resources that we take for granted. One crusades for the importance of protecting our natural resources for our future generations and provides thousands of individuals with the ability to finance and care for their families. And one has risked their life to ensure that we go to bed each night and wake up each morning in a country where we are protected and guaranteed the freedom to live the life we choose. All 3 are deserving of the recognition they are receiving today and so much more. As a school district and as a community, we are honored to celebrate with each of you. Please give them another hand. In addition to our inductees, we're fortunate to have some other distinguished guests with us today. Some of our previous Hall of Fame members are here with us, so please stand as I call your name. Charles Armstrong, Hall of Fame, class of 2012. John Dickey, Hall of Fame, class of 2013. And Steve Edwards and Susan Provence, Hall of Fame, class of 2015. Please stand and recognize these Hall of Fame members. Individuals like Charles, John, Steve, and Susan, and the three being inducted today, are exactly why SBS created the Hall of Fame. We want to showcase what can be achieved when students are provided an engaging, relevant, and personal learning experience every day. All of our Hall of Fame inductees serve as an inspiration to our current and to our future students. For me personally, I always leave this event recommitted to creating learning opportunities for each of our 25,000 students. Today, we are joined by a few of those students. We have current SBS students here today being special guests, ushers, musicians, and escorts for our inductees. If you are a current SBS student in attendance today, would you please stand and be recognized? In addition to these awesome students, I'd also like to recognize our school board. We have 7 members that commit daily to these 25,000 kids and making sure that what they have is good enough to prepare them for the next step in life. If you're a board member and I call your name, please stand and be recognized. President and Hillcrest class of 1972, Dr. Denise Frederick. Vice President, Ms. Jill Patterson. Mr. Jerry Lee. Dr. Alina Leonard, Mr. Bruce Renner, Mr. Tim Rosenberry, and Dr. Charles Taylor. Please give these public servants a hand. And finally, I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the Foundation for Springfield Public Schools. Natalie Murdoch, the Executive Director, and her staff and Board of Directors work relentlessly to reduce the distance between our limited district resources and student classroom needs. Your generosity changes lives, and they help make this happen. At this time, we'd like to show a short video highlighting the Foundation's work, followed by remarks from Foundation President Curran Lemons.
Foundation for Springfield Public Schools is an organization that helps to raise money. That money is then allocated to the classrooms for special projects for schools and teachers.
It was founded in 1990 by a group of volunteers who identified a gap that existed in the funding sources for the Springfield Public School system.
Foundation is a great support mechanism for our kids and our teachers. It provides resources for a number of different things, from our back-to-school grants that really fill gaps for our classrooms to scholarships for our kids. The Foundation is a conduit to help us find success for our students.
The Foundation looks at the grants that come in for the entire district. Then if they think it's a good idea, they will fund the project so that we actually have the money to do some of these really neat things with the kids.
Since its inception, the Foundation has funded over $17 million in grants and scholarships, including $1 million last year. I think a big highlight is our Back to School program.
On the Back to School program, we raised $232,000, and that provided lots of requests to be done for the teachers and for the principals.
That's a really neat way for the community to get involved, build excitement for the coming school year, and help make sure that teachers start out the year with the resources they need to have a successful classroom experience.
I could not have done any of the special projects that I've done with the kids over the last several years without the Foundation.
The Foundation has provided my students with print and digital resources to keep my library collection current, engaging, and relevant for my students. It fills in those gaps that normal budgets don't allow.
Over the years, we have written many foundation grants, and they have covered the cost of all sorts of things such as field trips, playground equipment, garden equipment, items that would not have been possible to purchase with our regular school budget.
They not only fill gaps, but they really inspire innovation in our classroom. Because a bigger thing than just the resources that the foundation provides is the confidence and the support, and, for a teacher's perspective and from a kid's perspective, that someone outside of our school cares enough to provide money and resources for me, and that means so much to our kids and our teachers.
I think it's such an important mission, and the reason personally I became involved is that I think educational opportunity is the cornerstone of any great society. It's the foundation of growth for kids, and if we invest in education, it's going to pay off in dividends for everybody in the community later.
It's important to know that the foundation cannot be successful without people helping. We need to give so that the foundation can do their job.
It's an investment in our community, it's an investment in our children. Even if you don't have children in the school system, by providing these quality educational opportunities, you are making our community a better place to live for yourselves, for everyone in the school system, and for everyone in our community.
Good afternoon. Thank you for attending. And congratulations to all the inductees. The Foundation for Springfield Public Schools is honored to be one of the sponsors. You saw the video of what we have, are, and will continue to do to support the Springfield Public Schools. We manage over 150 different accounts with over $5 million in assets. And as you indicated, as indicated in the video, we funded grants in excess of $240,000 just a month ago in our back-to-school program. But that's not all we do. We try and keep the alumni of Springfield Public Schools connected. So if you're an alumni, please learn more about us, visit our website, update your personal information, because we'd like to reach out to you and tell you what great things the school system is doing. Again, thank you for being here. Congratulations to the inductees, and thank you for all you do to make this world a better place. Let me thank you very much, and Dr. Jungman, thanks to you as well. Superintendent of the Year, by the way, Missouri Association of School Administrators, Superintendent of the Year. Before we formally honor the inductees for 2016, we'd like to formally recognize the individuals who served on the selection committee for their time and their effort in selecting the class of 2016. Several are with us today, so please stand if you're a member of the Hall of Fame Selection Committee. Let's recognize these men and women for their service. Please stand. We're here. Please recognize them for their service. In addition to today's ceremony, Springfield Public Schools Hall of Fame inductees will be recognized through a plaque dedication, and those plaques will be proudly displayed on a wall at Glenville High School. An additional plaque with their names will also be displayed at Craft Administrative Center. Well, now the moment we've been waiting for. Many of you know our inductees well, but for those of you who do not, I'm certain you will enjoy hearing about their lives as students, as well as their professional and personal accomplishments. So let's begin. Our first inductee, Dr. Adam Gordon, is a 1987 Glendale High School graduate. Now a highly publicized professor of medicine, advisory dean, physician, and researcher, Adam began his foray into the world of science by working on a project about light attraction for fruit flies in a science competition in a classroom right here in Springfield. That's how it all began. Later in life, observing the struggles of those living in impoverished neighborhoods who were dealing with homelessness and coping with addictions, Adam began his journey to address critical healthcare needs of very vulnerable individuals. I would direct your attention to the screens and join me in watching a video which highlights Adam's life through interviews with those who know him personally as well as professionally.
first thing that I thought when I met him for the first time is, wow, he's handsome. But I also was very impressed by the fact that he was informed. He was very thorough, he was very engaging, and he was very eager to help, and it just made a big impression on me.
I don't know that I know very many people who have had a more impactful scientific career while still doing work that has such profound impact on the real lives of people, and people who, by many respects, have been marginalized.
It's rare to find people with so much interest in and commitment to working with people who are homeless, people who have mental illness, what have you.
I think as early as his medical student years, he saw an avenue where he could be an advocate and a helper. And Adam heard that and responded.
He is incredibly generous with his time and with his energy, and incredibly generous also in terms of sharing credit and sharing glory for the things that go well.
As a scientist, the quality of his work is incredible, but as a person, I am literally in awe of his vita. I'm in awe of his publication record and the body of work that he has put together to use science and to use medicine to really improve and impact the lives of real people. It's astounding to me.
He treats everyone with respect and courtesy. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. And I have to say what he passes on is not just information, but an attitude. And the attitude is that this person, this patient deserves respect, to be heard, to have someone listen to him or her. And Adam just does this so well and so naturally with everyone who he meets.
I first met Adam Gordon in 1978 when he was in the first pilot class of WINGS. In 1978, WINGS was the name of the program for the academically gifted here in Springfield Public Schools. I was fortunate enough to be one of the 2 teachers chosen to lead this new adventure for gifted students. Our goal was to focus on student strengths, not weaknesses, and Adam Gordon had many strengths. In addition to his intellect, he was sincere, humble, kind, caring, eager, disciplined, focused, everything you would want in a student, a future researcher, and in fact everything you want in a human being. As much as we might like to take the credit for Adam's scholarship, his parents were the foundation for the Adam we honor today. Thank you, Joanne and Al. His kindness and concern for others was clearly a harbinger for his life's work, a focus on the homeless and addiction issues. Today, as he mentors others, he hopes to learn as much from his mentees as they do from him. Adam says, "The mentor-mentee relationship is about a symbiosis to achieve something greater than either person could achieve." And Adam, although you've achieved great success, there are many more social and medical challenges we hope you will embrace. Adam loved the openness of WINGS activities, daily journals, especially cartooning, and the encouragement we gave him to argue, to question, to prove, and he especially loved to think outside the box. In fact, students like Adam pushed us to let him excel. Adam especially liked stories with holes, like this story. So let's see how you all will do. What is the hole in this story? A man's dead body hangs from a rope tied to the center of the ceiling beam in a large empty room. His feet are 10 feet from the floor. Nothing else in the room. How is this possible? Adam? A block of ice. Through the years, gifted students have told us that the best thing a teacher can do is just get out of their way. Adam, I'm so very proud of you to receive the recognition from today. And frankly, I'm overwhelmingly grateful that I had enough good sense to get out of your way. We know gifted students like Adam see the world as it should be. and strive to get the rest of us to see it. However, in that journey, they often face ridicule for their vision of what is possible. So when I asked Adam, as we would often do in journal writings, if you had the power to change anything, what would it be and why? And this was his response. I would want to make sure that everyone accepts everyone for who they are. We're in such a divisive country and world. If persons would accept one another, regardless of nation, race, ethnicity, gender, or religion, the world would be in a much better place. Diversity is what advances understanding. We cannot survive as a species without genetic diversity or diversity of purpose and creed. So no, Adam, I don't think we would have been better off if you had been a cartoonist. Now, I'm humbled by the honor of welcoming Rachel Dwyer, Glendale High School escort, for Dr. Adam Gordon, and our 2016 Hall of Fame inductee, Dr. Adam J. Gordon.
Wow, that's a very humbling introduction. I want to personally, right off the bat, thank the Springfield Public School System, the leaders, as well as all the teachers that have made my life so fulfilling. Before I open my remarks with regards to how the Springfield Public School System has really shaped my life, I'd like to give out some special thanks to several people in the room, you all, and people that are from far away. First off, I want to thank the 3 testimonials that took time out of their busy schedules to honor me today. Janet Knopf is a professor down at Emory. She's a product of the Springfield Public School System. Molly Conroy is my wife, and I want to thank her, as well as my family, Neil and Martha, who are twins at 7, and Lily, who is now 9. The last person was Dr. Lauren Royal. She's a nurse researcher who I've had the privilege of communicating with and mentoring over the course of many years. I want to also put a special shout out to my parents who are here today. Joanne and Albert Gordon have been formative in my life. They've provided me the opportunities to not only succeed as a professional, as a person, but also to learn from failure. That barriers can be overcome, that people can advance in the face of a lot of adversity, both in the work environment, but also in the personal life. And I would not be here today without their support and their really just the awesomeness of being that both my parents emulate. So thank you, Mom and Dad. I was thinking about what kind of message I would like to portray today to you all about how the Springfield Public School System has really propelled my career in my life. And I could talk about a lot of different things, a lot of themes that I really reflect on how the SBS has really formed my life. But I thought it would be illustrative of just one of those themes of how the school system has driven my career. And that is the issue of overcoming stigma. When I say the words nerd, geek, jock, 4 eyes, many of us in the room have very, very vivid pictures of what that person may be like and what they are. And I will tell you that in those 4 terms, the Springfield Public School System did a great job of overcoming the stigma. And I'll give you 3 examples. First, in the curriculum itself. The teachers of the Springfield Public Schools are fabulous. There have been many experiences through my life in the curriculum of the Springfield Public Schools which have shown that you can overcome that stigma of being outsider, a geek, or a nerd. One of the most illustrative examples of that was in my freshman geometry class in Glendale High School. I remember very vividly Mr. Wayne Nelson, who is here today, told us the first day of class that you in geometry will not be using a textbook. We are not going to have a textbook for geometry. And I was like, whoa, geometry is all visual. I'm used to using textbooks to understand things. I remember vividly going home to my parents and saying, this is not, I don't want to go, high school's going to be bad. We don't have textbooks in high school. But what happened was, in the next several weeks, a learning environment occurred where Mr. Nelson let us explore, advance, and use our logic to build a community of learning among the students themselves. And at the end of the class, it was the best class I've ever had, and I will say it's the best experience I've ever had in life, regarding showing how being a nerd and a geek, you can learn and make something better through a very alternative pathway of learning. So thank you, Mr. Nelson, for that. A second aspect of the Springfield Public School System, I think, is something that we often don't recognize. We all are interested in curriculum, but you have all these extracurricular activities that can provide foundations to explore your inner geek. So as a high school student, I was involved in forensic league or speech and debate classes. In high school, I was part of the regional science fairs. And through these activities, I was able to interact with cultures and aspects of learning that was not part of the formal curriculum. And the curricular people encouraged me to be involved in those extracurricular activities. And that encouragement allowed me to overcome the stigma of being a nerd. The third aspect, and Sarah Lampay, who, by the way, is just a fabulous person, and you are lucky to have her here in your community. She's really been a pioneer of education nationally and regionally. So thank you, Sarah, for that. But the WINGS program allowed me to really explore, again, my inner geek point. I could fail, I could succeed, I could try to learn differently, and overcome the stigma of that geekdom. So why am I talking about stigma? Well, in my new career as a physician who deals with patients who have vulnerable issues, such as whether they're in poverty, or whether they have addictive disorders, or maybe who are homeless or near homeless, overcoming the stigma of that population is a paramount reason or need in order to improve the access and quality of care for that population. And I've learned from the SPS experience how to do it today. So by thinking outside the box, and for example, do the body experiment. What do you hear or you see when you hear the word addict, or the word crackhead, or an alcoholic? What do you see in your mind? How can you overcome that perception to make it that person with a problem, not a labeled person as an addict? So how do you do that? Well, you can do it several ways. You can do healthcare clinics outside of the normal hospital environment, where you reduce the barriers to stigma. You reduce the white-coated doctor talking to a patient, and instead having a culture of healthcare provision in a very nice environment, in a welcoming environment. Maybe you change the language of addiction. One of my current roles as an editor of a major addiction journal is that our editorial board put out an editorial basically saying that we have to change the language of addiction, such that we're not calling people addicts, we're not calling people alcoholics, that we should really rethink how we address this patient population. And I'm happy to note that 2 weeks ago, the Journal of the American Medical Association, through a commentary from Michael Botticelli, who is the ONDC chair, or the Office of Governmental Drug and Control Policy, through the Obama administration, wrote an editorial who referenced our work to say, we really have to rethink how we're addressing this patient population. And then finally, a stigma issue with regards to this patient population is that we've changed the science. As a health services researcher, as a researcher in this field, we have moved from the behavior or the moral failing of this disorder to mean it to be a disease process. We know that there are neural pathways in your brain that make you at risk for addictive disorders. Now, sure, there may be risk factors in the environment that may propel you to become have a problem with addictions. But it's very similar to hypertension. You are born with a risk for hypertension. You may be overweight, you may then eat poorly or have poor exercise, and those are things that may propel you to have a full-blown high blood pressure or hypertension disorder. It's analogous to patients with addiction. You are born with a risk. Many of us in this room, or many of you in the room, experimented with drugs, illegal drugs, alcohol, and you were able to stop it. Some people can't. They have a high risk for that disorder. And the social determinants of health, the environment, the poverty, all mental health disorders can propel that person to be at greater risk. So, stigma issue, the theme of stigma, that you all started with me in the Springfield Public School System is now informing how I deal with patients with addiction and how I deal with that issue. So I want to say thank you to you. In closing, this is a very humbling honor. Didn't expect it. A lot more people that are much more deserving. I am just an exemplar of the product of the Springfield Public School System. If the honor is not on me, it's upon you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Gordon, thank you. Congratulations again to you. And Sarah Lambie, thanks very much for those comments. Rachel Dwyer, thanks for your assistance this noon hour as well. The next individual being recognized is Johnny Morris, Glendale High School class of 1966. Setting out across the country with a rented trailer and filling it with premium fishing tackle, Johnny managed to turn a hobby into a passion into a business, and a business into an international success. Along the way, he's also managed to educate children and adults on what we can learn from the outdoors if we just take the time to look. He also reminds us of our responsibility to protect and preserve our natural resources for future generations. Those who know Johnny and his commitment to and love of the great outdoors now share highlights of his accomplishments in the following video.
I come from a small town, Ava, Missouri. Kind of nervous about going to Drury College. Not many people from our town had that opportunity, and I did. And got to school, joined a fraternity, met John, and found out immediately that we had a lot of things in common. And probably the main one at that time was fishing and the outdoors. Johnny and I were a lot alike. We were pretty much loved the outdoors. Anything that had to do with fishing and hunting, and it doesn't surprise me that he went into the business that he went into.
I am who I am today because of Wolf School, and Wolf School would not have been possible without Johnny Morris. My passion is to become a veterinarian. I love animals. I love everything about them. Wolf School gave me the exposure that I needed and the experience that I needed to pursue that passion earlier. Wolf School got me into volunteering, which got me an opportunity to shadow, which got me my job. So it's just a big rolling effect that started way back in the 5th grade, and I feel like he knew that. He knew that you had to start early, and I'm extremely grateful that he gave me that opportunity by funding the Wolf School.
I have worked with John on conservation programs and initiatives for almost 23 years. John, thanks for teaching us to be great stewards of our natural resources and to inspire us to be outside. Congratulations on receiving this great honor. Your conservation and outdoor inspiration has touched my soul forever.
He has an intuition and sees things that other people don't see when he looks at our environment and the things that are related to it, and I've always been impressed with that. Really amazed at the person he's turned out to be, and I just want to say it's been great being his friend, and it's been a great ride.
Hello, it's hard to follow Jim Anderson, the guy is putting in the force. Anyway, I want to really say that I am Norm Ritter, and it's a pleasure to be here, back in the Springfield area. And I was superintendent of Springfield Public Schools for about 9 years, and that's how I got to know John. And to be honest with you, I've got quite a story, but I don't have that much time. To start off with, to let you know, Johnny's humility is second to none. He's very shy. And after meeting his family, I can understand the preciousness that he has done as far as raising his children. Unbelievable. And so really, as I look at his family, by the way, I did find out who the other children were. Julie and Jennifer. And I asked Megan why. She said they ran out of J's by the time they got to her. And he has 3 grandchildren, by the way. Pfeiffer, Lincoln, and Ollie. Ollie sounds like she might be your favorite, 2-year-old Ollie. And so anyway, yeah, I thought so. Anyway, I thought I'd introduce them as well. So anyway, when I came to Springfield, well over, pretty close to 11, 12 years ago, I was impressed right away with the beauty that Springfield has. The whole southwest Missouri area is very beautiful. Coming from Colorado, which is majestic. And so I thought, wow, what an opportunity now as far as nature is concerned, because really what I was hearing when I came to Springfield is that everybody is in love with nature. And so then I thought, wow, I sat down with my staff and I said, you know, let's set up an opportunity to maybe put something into nature, maybe Johnny Morris, because I was hearing about Bass Pro, maybe Johnny Morris would be interested. They all said, I don't know about this. It's hard to get in to see that guy. Well, a good year later, I was able to get in to see Johnny. And here's what happened. I'm sitting there. We're having a conversation. And they said, well, he's only going to have about 20 minutes to half hour time. About an hour and a half later. And then really in that conversation we were talking about, and I was talking about ideas that I had, and I was thinking about at school out in the woods type of concept. And ultimately we were talking about curriculum and basically how we could really bring the children closer to nature, to help people understand that really nature is what it's all about. And we really are here to conserve nature. And so anyway, he says, I got one thing. And he thought he had me. But really, I was bait and switching him pretty well, I thought. But anyway, he threw this one thing at me, and he thought for sure I was going to walk out of the room. He says, you're going to learn how to shoot a gun. I said, well, of course, you need to learn how to hunt. I think I had him from that point on because that was his commitment. And from there on, Johnny was committed. Now, you need to understand the journey there. And I was thinking that it was just going to be a simple store, behind the store, or maybe out in the woods. Everybody kept saying, no, no, Johnny's going to make the best. Well, as you know around you, this is Johnny Morris. As you know, the skin is really deer skin. Am I correct? I think this is deer skin in the lamp. Okay? And then when you're walking around in the wolf school, you're seeing actual footprints of different types of animals. You see stuffed animals. The taxidermists doing work on stuffed animals. Everywhere you go, wherever you're affiliated with Johnny Morris, it's a very powerful message about the influence of nature on us. And he does a wonderful job with that. So another thing that I want to mention that was really kind of a highlight of my experience with Johnny. Johnny always told me that he was going to teach me how to hunt turkey. And so anyway, Rob Keck, supposedly the guru of hunting turkeys. Supposedly he's working for you now, is in charge of development or something like that. Anyway, Rob Keck and I, along with several other people, and Johnny was going to join us. And I've heard about Johnny's ability to shoot. And so that scared me a little bit. But anyway, and so as we were heading up towards and getting ready to go, Johnny gets a call to go to Germany. So he wasn't able to join us because they were opening up a new rifle range in Germany. So he had to go to Germany. So I go to Osceola, your place up at Osceola. Rob Keck had it all figured out as far as the turkey was concerned. I was thinking he was going to tie the turkey down so that I would not miss it. But he had it all pretty well cased. And so ultimately we were doing the turkey calls. This is 4:30 in the morning, by the way. We're doing, oh wait a minute, I forgot the night before he taught me how to shoot. Okay? So he put a Coke can, I'm advertising. Anyway, he put a Coke can way out there, and it took a couple shots. I finally hit it. So anyway, he says, I think you're ready. So we get out there and we do all the turkey calls and all that. And we have turkeys coming from all over the place. Rob had to figure it out. But he was counting on this group of turkeys coming from this side. However, it was a group of turkeys coming from this side. And it was the grand turkey of all turkeys. So we get to the eventually where the turkeys are. And Rob was praying like crazy that I'd hit this turkey. And lo and behold, he said, shoot! His head was right there. So Rob moved. So anyway, we hit the turkey, and lo and behold, the turkey's out, the entrance out here. So, I wanted to share that experience with you. But from then on, the Wolf School took place. And really, Susan Dial, basically really led that initiative as far as the Wolf School is concerned. And then we did end up with probably the best classroom facility I've ever seen, and I've been around the country. It's unbelievable. So any child that goes through this Wolf program is really experiencing the best education. And I've learned through the years, getting kids close to nature is the best way for them to understand what life's all about. Philosophically, spiritually, it doesn't make any difference. They realize the source of life and how precious it is to live amongst nature. And so, Johnny, we really thank you for that. So in conservation circles, Johnny is often compared to Teddy Roosevelt for his leadership, personal commitment, and dedication to conservation efforts. Teddy Roosevelt's quite a comparison. Probably one of the best presidents, most well-read presidents. By the way, Johnny shared with me that between he and Megan, neither one of them got a B in school. Megan got straight A's. Guess what Johnny got? Anyway, so, told you, Johnny, don't tell me anything, I'll share it. Anyway, so advocating for conservation is a personal passion for Johnny, who recognizes the need for citizens to take a strong position in the careful management and use of our natural resources. Today, he is one of the country's leaders, working to ensure natural habitats, wildlife, and the outdoors remain healthy and abundant for future generations to protect and enjoy. Participating in and leading national initiatives and extensive partnerships supporting conservation organizations. In 2012, the Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies named Johnny Citizen Conservationist of the Year, one of the many accolades he continues to receive for his ongoing leadership and support of conservation and philanthropic activities. He has contributed millions of dollars to conservation and community initiatives, from introducing new audiences to the outdoors to supporting important local initiatives through the nonprofit Johnny Morris Foundation, establishing a significant personal legacy that will benefit the Ozarks and America for generations to come. Now, please welcome to the stage 2016 Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Johnny Morris. Yes. Johnny got ahead of the escort. Johnny Morris is escorted by Glendale High School student Gavin Burlew.
Thank you, Norm. Good afternoon, everybody. Does anybody here like to hunt and fish? Does anybody here like to hunt and fish enough to ever play hooky to go do it? I was looking up yesterday, had Mark McCollum help me look up, our Director of Conservation, how many unexcused absences a student in public school can have and still make it into the next grade. The answer is 20. I want to tell you how I know this, because we're here today and we're all so respectful and grateful to have the opportunity to salute and thank some great teachers, superintendents, and principals that dedicated their life to helping us advance our education and just to get enjoyment from life and rewards from life. There's one principal that is kind of at the bottom of our list that we wanted to call him out today too. Don't worry, it wasn't from Springfield Public Schools, he was from Ozark, where our son and daughter, youngest, who went to grade school, his name was Zeke. So one day I get home from work and Jeannie meets me at I'm happy to be here with you today, dear. So Jeannie's kind of upset about something, I can tell. So we got this letter from the principal, Zeke, and it informed us that said, your son has, and I think they must back then, they had a little more tolerant, but they said, your son has like, how many dear? 30 32 unexcused absences, and by state law, he cannot graduate to the 4th grade if he has 2 more. And so Zeke put a heck of a dent in our fishing and hunting for the rest of the year. But it is, like Dr. Ford said, it's an honor to be here today and to be alongside Billy, a great patriot. You, Dr. Ford, your remarks, you can tell in school there are students at all levels, right? I remember my dad, and you, that was brilliant and from the heart, what you just shared with us, and how you committed yourself to help others. My dad picked me up from school one day, and he saw I had my report card in my hip pocket, which I was trying to camouflage it, but I didn't do a good job. And he looked at it, and it's the same usual report card with pretty much all lousy grades. And he said, he looked at me, and I remember this just like it was yesterday. This was a long time ago now. He looked at me and he said, well, son, he said, just remember this. He said, hard work will make up for a lot that the good Lord didn't see fit to give you upstairs. that hurts. I think about seriously where we've all grown up, you know, where we're gathered here today in Springfield. It's a great part of America. You study, and one thing I kind of say to young people that I'm not bragging about, I think if anything, your studies and paying attention to the knowledge you can learn, not only from teachers in school, but teachers in life, like your parents. I see Sue Dial back there, it heads up the Wolf School in Education. And I think the teachers that I've had in life, there was a John Kirby, I took vocational agriculture, and he taught me how to treat calf scour and spring globe and how to lay a bead on a welder. But these people, they teach you many important things in the big picture scheme of life. And part of that comes to discipline and other things. And I just, when I got word I was getting this recognition, I don't know who this nomination committee, they didn't study report cards. But I look at the future too. Look like where we've been, but where can we go? And so I feel today, I've been so blessed, you know, my whole life. One, to grow up here, have the support of my family, extended family, folks from Bass Pro here today, they're part of our family. And how we've been blessed, you know, to spend our whole life around the outdoors, nature, fishing. And it probably, you know, couldn't happen in many countries, but it can happen in America, it can happen in Springfield, all of our blessings. And I think one thing that's our obligation, since we've been so blessed in this, to try, how do we give back? And so maybe we can more have a chance to deserve this recognition as we go forward than we have in the past. By having the great privilege and opportunity to work with Norman Ritter and to work with you, John, there you are, and the support you've given us and the opportunity with Wolf School, work down at Dogwood with the new museum and aquarium. There is a great opportunity we have today. Kids growing up in this region, in the whole of America, used to be outdoors. Hunting and fishing was how people grew up. They were exposed to these things. They were traditions. They were a way of life. And people, even the, you know, people that came before us, the Native Americans, they were like our first conservationists. They were out there in nature, and they came to appreciate firsthand the need. How do we manage our resources? And kids today, you know, all know it's more urban environment, more time on these devices and fun games and not getting out. So to have the chance to work with the public school systems, and I look over here to my heroes too, in teachers and education alike. One is Martin McDonald, that said the nice things, thank you, Martin, and also Bob Zemer, our former director of Missouri Department of Conservation, and his lifelong commitment, how to inspire people for the future. So anyway, it's great to be here, and Billy, good luck. And thanks again for carrying on to protect our country, and it's just amazing the diversity. The doctor mentioned how, you know, all people, different skills, different backgrounds, and yet we've all been influenced by where we had the chance to go to school here. It means a lot to all of us. We thank you.
Johnny, we congratulate you. Certainly I know that John A. and Jenny are looking down right now, smiling very widely. Dr. Ritter, thanks for your introduction, your comments. Norm, it's good to have you back at home, so to speak. And Gavin, thanks very much for your assistance as well. The final Hall of Fame inductee is 1992 Glendale High School graduate, William J. Lagasse. Well, we all watched in disbelief as the Twin Towers fell on September 11, 2001. Most of us saw despair and tragedy, fear and sadness. Bill saw something we did not. He saw the need to change his plans from a career of practicing law to a career of protecting the freedoms we enjoy today. Always a team player, Bill has shown that regardless of where he is, on the Fighting Irish football field or standing on the soil in Afghanistan and Iraq as an elite Navy SEAL, supporting active military veterans, first responders and their families, or working in the private sector, he is dedicated to living a life of service. Please direct your attention once again to the screens to view a highlight video.
Grew up in Springfield, Missouri, played football at Notre Dame, goes to Pepperdine to law school and got his master's degree, was studying for the bar, and 2 weeks out 9/11 happens. He calls his mom and dad and says, "If not me, then who?" and serves 14 years.
You got to wonder about a guy, man, who does something like that and then gets out, and for the betterment of himself, he betters other people. And that says a lot about who he is, actually, and where he comes from.
The motivation Billy has is just for service, for himself, for others, to take care of his family. That's what really motivates him to go out and do what he does.
Billy was built to protect the vulnerable, regardless of what setting that's in. And I've seen so many times where a veteran has brought to Billy's attention a problem or an issue or something that they were worried about or was troubling to them, and I've never one time seen Billy not immediately roll up his sleeves and with passion dig in and try to help.
To be able to have someone like that who's a great veteran, you know, he's the type of person you want on your football team, or you want as somebody who's defending our country. And you know, I'm glad to know Bill and to have spent that time with him.
I respect him with everything I got. He saved my life multiple times, and that's what he does. So he got out of the SEAL team, gave service to his country in combat, and now he works for multiple charities. He goes on Patriot Tour with us and raises awareness for veterans. I mean, he's definitely not by himself.
His greatest accomplishment, as far as I'm concerned, is the freedom that he's purchased for all of us.
He will fight tooth and nail to get his dreams accomplished, and again, I admire him for that. I really do.
Welcome to the Springfield Public Schools Hall of Fame Luncheon. I'm Judy Atkins. I taught business education at Glendale High School for 24 years and retired in 1995. While at Glendale, I was lucky enough to have some of the greatest students ever, including Billy Wags in 1992. I haven't seen Billy for 24 years until last night at reception. Seems like yesterday that he was in the accounting classroom doing the practice sets and using the TPA machines. He was also a standout all-state football player for Coach Bob Price's Falcons. Billy's teammate, Joey Pearman, once said that Billy had the ability and the leadership skills to bring the team together when they were a little bit down. Billy was a very good leader on the football field as well as the classroom. He went on to play football at Luncheon. Billy was the only accounting major on the football team. many Notre Dame football games, trying to watch Billy do spectacular play. Billy went on to Pepperdine as a law student, graduated with his Juris Doctorate degree in 2000, and eventually earned his master's degree in dispute resolution in 2001. He joined the Navy SEALs soon after that and has recently retired from the Naval Reserves. Billy's high school counselor, Mrs. Wilma Robine, and I used to walk every day to Fitness Center. We talked about Billy a lot. If we had seen something or read something about something going on in the Middle East regarding the Navy SEALs or his unit, we would talk about him constantly. He was in our thoughts and prayers. Billy continued to use his leadership skills with his very special unit. I am pleased now that Billy is using his accounting knowledge working for Fidelity's financial in Los Angeles. He's also using his very special talents as an ambassador for the Gary Sinise Foundation and organizations for the military and its veterans. Thank you, Billy, for signing up for accounting at Glendale. It's an honor to introduce to you one of the most outstanding young men that I've ever had the pleasure of teaching. I'm delighted to welcome to the stage 2016 Public Schools Hall of Fame inductee, William Jason Billy Wagacy, escorted by Luke Montgomery, another all-state standout at Glendale High School. He's for the Glendale Falcons this year. Billy.
How's everybody doing? Someone left a speech up here, I think. It's such an honor to be here. It's extremely humbling to be and to even be considered to be a nominee and with Dr. Gordon, Johnny Morris. You know, life is sometimes a little unexpected. My beautiful lady who's with me here today, Alexi, she grew up in Guadalajara, Mexico. So her two girls, Sophia and Victoria, when I first met Alexi a couple years ago, the girls said, well, what should we call him? And Alexi says, well, you can call him Senor William. So I got to say, growing up in the Midwest, serving in the United States military, playing football, you know, at Notre Dame, I never ever thought at home I would be called Senor William. And as I served in the U.S. Navy SEALs, we're defined really by our culture. We're all human. When I went through Bud's class 244 in 2003, after I enlisted in the Navy, came as an E3, we started out with over 220 people in my Bud's class. We classed up on day one with 186, and we went to Hell Week 3 weeks later with 68. Graduated Hell Week with 30. And of the originals that started with my class and finished with my class, there were 8 of us originals. We had other people from their classes that got rolled in from 241, 242, and 243 into my class, and a few others that got rolled out of my class that graduated later. But it was tough. We have a lot of sayings in the SEAL teams that denote our culture and who we are. Things like, you can't go anywhere without a swim buddy. You can't win alone. You have to have a swim buddy. This is one of the first things they teach you. Sayings like, your only easy day was yesterday, and earn your trident every single day. You hear these from the first day you're a SEAL to the last day you're a Navy SEAL. But many of these concepts I had learned a long time ago in the Springfield public school system. With Coach Bob Price, the most winningest head coach in Springfield history, and Coach Jerry Boyer, my defensive coordinator, I learned a long time ago that you have to earn it every single day. that the only easy day was yesterday, and that you can't win alone. It's all about the team that you're on. With Mr. Nelson, I was in his geometry class too. Unlike Dr. Gordon, I was super excited we were going to have textbooks. I was like, this is awesome. I'll never forget the very first day of geometry class where Mr. Nelson said, in geometry and mathematics, you very rarely ever say always, and you very rarely ever say never. I also learned from him, he said, you have to start somewhere, and in geometry there are certain things that are just givens. And that's, I learned from my parents that there are certain things that are just givens. So, Mom, Dad, your love and your sacrifice were two of the biggest givens for me that I could start off and build from. And I appreciate that. From Judy Askins, my accounting teacher, I learned all about having balance sheets and assets and liabilities and equity. And I learned that you have to have a return on your investment. As I went through the SEAL teams and had a chance to serve and work with wounded warriors afterwards, I just realized that you have to give equity and build equity in people's lives. And that you have to walk with them. For my dad, one of the biggest things I ever learned from my dad, not only was he a loving father, but the things I remember most about my father is when I was a little boy, is when he stuck up for me, or when I was scared and he comforted me. I learned from my dad that he was a shield to me. And through that, I learned, as I grew up, to be a shield for others. Thanks, Dad. My mom, a consummate prayer warrior, my sister, my biggest cheerleader. And I learned that you invest in people, you build equity in people. And these are the things I learned from my coaches, from my professors, from my teachers in the Springfield public school system. That those who invest in you deserve to see a return on their investment. I hope always to work hard and make the Springfield public school system a great return on their investment, and to be a good Senora William, and help always make our country a better place and a shield for others. I would like to thank the Springfield public school system for even considering me for this honor. Thank you for giving me your time and attention today. I'm deeply humbled and grateful to be in the presence of such distinguished honorees, and to be around and come home. I've traveled around the world, mostly to the bad places, but come home to Springfield, Missouri, which will always be my home. And it's so great to come back here and see so many friendly faces. Thank you all for investing in me, and I promise to work hard to continue to give you a return on your investment. Thank you.
Senor William, we congratulate you again, and certainly Judy Askins, thanks so much for those comments, and Luke, thanks for your assistance as well. Well, friends, thank you all for attending this 7th Annual Springfield Public Schools Hall of Fame Awards Luncheon to celebrate these 3 outstanding Springfield Public Schools graduates. Today's inductees each took a different path in life, but all of their paths began at Springfield Public Schools. I think all 3 would agree that achieving their goals and their dreams was in part impacted by the dedicated educators who made a difference in their young lives, so that as adults, they in turn could make an impact on the lives of other people. Let's give another round of applause to Springfield Public Schools Hall of Fame class of 2016. What a day for Glendale High School. My gosh, it's a tremendous legacy for Glendale. And sponsors, we thank you once again for your support. Again, presenting sponsor 417 Magazine, the Foundation for Springfield Public Schools, Bass Pro Shops, Maddox New Prater, Estley Snyder and Associates, Positronic, and Ozarks Coca-Cola Dr. Pepper Bottling Company. A special thanks to sponsors Ad Smith Marketing and Advertising and KY3, who helped produce the wonderful highlight videos for our inductees this afternoon. Finally, I'd like to remind you that you can help determine who will be inducted into the 2017 Hall of Fame class. Visit the website, springfieldpublicschoolsmo.org, for more information about nominating a candidate next spring for induction into the 2017 Springfield Public Schools Hall of Fame. We thank you very much for your attendance and your commitment to Springfield Public Schools. We are adjourned.